I appreciate y'all for tuning in this Saturday. It was a few quick topics that I wanted to talk on. I wanted to talk about, give my take on, and it was just easier just to go live and go through all three of them as opposed to just doing a bunch of individual videos for 5 or 10 minutes. So we're going to dive in and talk about it. I'm Marcus, and here we talk attorney reactions to current events, trending news, where I give my opinion and takes on topics. Sometimes it's just my opinion. Sometimes it's my legal take. Sometimes it's a little bit of a hybrid, a little bit of both. If you get some value out of the content, I definitely invite you to like, subscribe, share, comment. And if you're interested in becoming an official co-counsel, definitely hit the join button to consider becoming a channel member where you get access to exclusive and early access to content. All right, so licensed attorney, not your attorney, not legal, not financial advice. Now, we're going to cover three quick stories. The title story is always the last story. So if y'all want to go get something to drink or make you a smoothie, shout out to a free advertisement. I'm going to cover the name up. But this is actually like the greatest gift that I've bought myself. Instead of paying a bunch of money for smoothies at Tropical Smoothie, I've been making smoothies every night since I got that thing. So shout out to portable smoothie makers and portable blenders. That joint is fire. But okay, we're going to dive into three stories. This first story is a hometown story, okay? I don't like crime. I think generally most people don't like crime. There are some nuanced scenarios where like, this person committed a crime, but I can morally understand the rationale for it where it might be some, but generally across the board, I think we all agree that crime and criminals suck. This one is actually close to home. This is a video that's kind of been trending. They got millions of views. And when I saw it, I was like, wait, that place looks familiar. So let's go ahead, dive into this video, check it out, and then I'm going to give y'all my take on just how freaking ridiculous this nonsense actually is. Let's go ahead and get it.
All new tonight at 11. You have probably seen this viral video right here. It has more than 7 million views and it's being reposted all over. It shows a Chipotle customer walk behind the counter, visibly upset, attempting to make her own burrito bowl.
They should go to jail. Before even watching the rest of this, they should be in custody. I think I already saw an assault. I think I already saw clearly it's an assault. I saw unlawful contact of another in a harmful or offensive manner. All of the food, was she over there with her unclean hands and just like she should have to pay restitution for whatever the cost for everything on that food line is. This person should also have to pay for all the customers who were in line and saw this hood shit and said, you know what, I'm leaving. This is absolutely ridiculous. Let's go and finish watching the story. I'm going to just let it play through, but this is absurd.
Views and it's being reposted all over. It shows a Chipotle customer walk behind the counter, visibly upset, attempting to make her own burrito bowl. At one point, she can be seen getting physical with an employee. This happened at the Chipotle in Washington Place in Northeast D.C. Tonight, our Liza Moreno spoke to that employee, and he says that woman threatened to come back.
What neighborhood when a customer attacked him. The video has since gone viral with over 7 million views.
I was mad, upset, but to me, I'm a man. I can't hit a female.
I agree. Men should not hit women, but everyone should defend themselves. Like, hey, if you, I tell my daughter this. This is the advice I give my daughter. If you want to, I generally tell her, hey, don't, you aren't a guy, so don't conduct yourself in a manner. Don't talk shit to a guy. Don't get in the guy's face. Don't touch him. Everybody keep their hands to themselves. If you want the pass of being treated like a woman, you should conduct yourself like a woman. That being said, men should not hit women, but everybody should defend themselves. I don't care if it's a grandmother. If somebody trying to hit you with the cane, you got to stop them from hitting you with that cane, from splitting your cabeza open. In my personal opinion, that's just my take. I mean, It's kind of wild. The person who did that should definitely be in custody. This is absolutely ridiculous.
So I walked away.
Hernandez says the woman ordered a burrito bowl on Uber Eats but returned and demanded a refund, saying her order was wrong. Hernandez and his manager explained refunds are issued by Uber. That's when Hernandez says things escalated and the woman proceeded to walk behind the counter and make herself several bowls with extra meat.
Man, what in the hood? This is absolutely ridiculous. That person should be in custody. I see disturbing this peace. I see an assault. I don't know. She should pay restitution for all the customers that left after that. She should pay restitution for all the food that was on the food line that they can't use because she came in and started breathing all over and putting her grubby paws in.
She was like, I want to remake the whole thing. I want tomato, double meat, and everything. And I looked at the receipt and everything. It was not double meat, no tomato, nothing, all that.
Hernandez says he's a loyal employee who's worked at this location for over 2 years. He has yet to hear from corporate, but he'd like to see security inside the store. He now says the woman is threatening him online.
Yesterday, she was saying, I'm going to come back and stab them and all that.
Hey, if she making the threats, that's a crime. It's about 3 crimes just off this video she could be charged with, and probably thousands of dollars in restitution.
I was scared. She was scaring my coworkers and all that too.
In a statement to WUSC 9, Chipotle said in part, "We do not condone guests who mistreat our team members. We are working cooperatively with local law enforcement and hope justice will be served." Hernandez has a message for the customer.
I hope that food was good.
DC police.
Man, how stupid, I don't know. Maybe this is just me, but if you order food from Uber Eats and it's wrong, that's actually kind of wild to go up to the actual place that you order food from. Because if I'm not mistaken, I felt like I had a mistake on maybe an Uber or Instacart order. And when I put it in, they like refunded my money immediately. It was actually no questions asked. Like, I don't know. This is actually kind of absurd. This is like aggressive. This is aggressive big back behavior that should not have happened. This person should be in custody. And trust me, I've been to that location. I've been to the metro station near that location. It's at times you can see some wild stuff going on over there. But now all the cost of all this drama is going to go directly. Next time you go to that location and you want a bowl, you're going to pay more because now they got to have private security there to protect people from angry Uber Eats customers who should have just refunded themselves through the app as opposed to actually going to the store. This is actually crazy, and it's actually a ridiculous story. And I think if I'm the guy, I think I heard him say he like traumatized. Hey, I'd be screaming that I'm traumatized and everything. Like, hey, Chipotle, y'all failed to protect me from this crazy woman coming in. So I'm not gonna be shocked that this dude don't try to finesse a lawsuit out of it. And personally,
Say no police report has been filed as of this evening. A spokesperson for Chipotle says they are planning on filing one. In Northeast DC, Les Marino, WUSA 9.
Okay, so after Leslie filed her report, she was able to get in touch with the woman you saw there in the video. She says she went behind the counter to get her original order because they refused to give her a refund or remake her order. Here's what she told Leslie just 15 minutes ago.
Before I threw the bowl on him.
man, come on, bro. so now she on here we already saw the video, but the video was kind of grainy. We really couldn't make out her face, even though I think we all know what it was. Now she's on here just telling her terrible ass ghetto story that I would love to be the judge in this case. I would throw the book at her.
Before I threw the bowl on him or anything, all of them put their hands on me first. And
she went back into their space. See, man, like certain people, man. See, like I'm not a proponent of like, no, something crazy like this. Nah, you're gonna go sit down somewhere. If I could get, let's see, misdemeanor assault, disturbing the peace, making threats over the internet. Oh yeah, she could get some. Even though those are misdemeanors, she definitely can.
only one behind the.
She could go sit down for some time for this. Not nothing major, but if I'm the judge, like nah, like You need to learn a lesson. I hope that Chipotle was good because you could be getting made by the county.
Before I proceeded to make my own food, all of them were touching me, being aggressive towards me. I was never aggressive towards them. I wasn't aggressive towards them until I got assaulted. The video was cut short. That was the second time me making a bowl.
Look at bruh face. That's exactly how I'm looking. She's talking. She is
okay. So Leslie also reached out to Uber Eats. We are still waiting to hear back. We will.
This is absolutely crazy. And the moral of the story is, when you out in public thinking you chilling, crazy people can do some crazy shit. So everybody generally, just as a matter of course, keep your head on a swivel because there's crazy ass folks out there. I hope she goes sit down for whatever, a week, 2 weeks, 30 days. You showed your ass off in public. So if I were the judge, if you want to show your ass off, I'm going to show my ass off. So it's going to be interesting to see if they file a police report and what happens. But that's fucking ridiculous to think you can move like that in public. And the reason people think they can move like that in public is because, I mean, if they call the cops aren't going to do anything. Nobody's going to do anything. Nobody's going to do anything unless the company makes an effort to actually press charges. And when you don't have laws being enforced, you get reckless shit like this happen. That's actually insane. But let's go ahead and check out this second story. This second story is we're going to pivot from the nation capital to New York City. This second story is actually a wild story. I haven't even watched the full video, but it's kind of crazy. Let's go ahead, dive in and talk about it.
A man suspected of setting a woman on fire on a New York City subway is facing murder and arson charges. That's as we learn new details about the suspect in custody. That's him right there, leaving court just in the last hour or so. This video just in. ICE saying in a statement the man is a Guatemalan citizen who appears to have entered the country illegally for a second time. And
all right, I already know some of y'all are gonna get on me when I say this. They're gonna be like, "Oh man, this dude's MAGA." But hey, we've been seeing this story and narrative being pushed. Some people say it's fake news. It's up to you how pervasive it is. But clearly, a lot of people, citizens alike, commit crimes. But there are clearly illegals in the country who are committing crimes. When someone first sent me this story, it was like a lady on the train who was just asleep, just chilling. They didn't even know this person. There appears to be no type of relationship between the decedent and this person who's in custody. And he just went over there, whoosh. And that was it. They stood and watched and nobody did shit. Even law enforcement was at the station and nobody did anything. This is absolutely insane. We've seen stories like this before with assaults and all types of heinous crimes happen on the subway, and people will pull out their phone and record, but won't do shit to intervene and stop it. And I don't know. This is absolutely batshit crazy to me.
And police say a woman sleeping on the F train, back to the crime here, was brutally murdered by that suspect. Graphic video capturing the moment it happened. We're going to show it to you, but we want to warn you. It can give you a chance to turn away if you don't want to see it. We have.
All right, we're gonna skip it a little bit because I don't want YouTube to go crazy on me. But let me see if y'all could. Let me see. I'm gonna see if I could. I can see if I could get the still image up there for y'all as we fast forward through. But you can see they got it blurred out. This is on the train. The lady minding her fucking business, sleep, and this douche just comes. Lights are on fire, then stands there and proceeds to watch. And passerbys, nobody tackled the guy. Nobody does nothing. Apparently, law enforcement is just sitting there chilling, and it's absolutely unacceptable. The book should be thrown at this dude. It is what it is. That's just my take. It should be no sympathy or empathy for this dude in any form or fashion.
That's right, Maggie. We're learning more details about the suspect in that horrendous crime on the New York City subway. ICE today, that's Immigration and Customs Enforcement, saying the suspect in this case is a 33-year-old Guatemalan man by the name of Sebastian Zapata, who they say entered the country illegally and was removed by ICE in 2018. But that at some point in time, he crossed back into the country illegally in violation of that deportation order. It's not clear where else he's been in the United States. The New York Police Department says they also don't believe that there was a connection between the suspect and the victim, but that it's not clear that he so much as talked to the victim. The NYPD said that they had a pretty clear description of him. They were able to see him so well because of the surveillance videos that were around the F train at the time, which shows him just right outside of the train watching this horrendous crime take place, and that the police were able to come down. But it was before it was too late for this woman because they smelled smoke. So in the meantime, ICE has issued a detainer to the NYPD so that whenever this suspect is finished with his time in the process, even if that's after a sentencing for homicide and arson, they could then take custody of him and deport him. So more details as we learn it, Maggie, about this suspect and this horrendous crime.
Thanks for watching. Stay on.
That is absolutely insane. Oh, I agree with that 100%. That was terrible. She was the aggressor in that case. With shout out to everybody in the chat too. Shout out to everybody checking out the video. I definitely appreciate you all for tuning in. But I don't give a I don't care what he was. Even though I know he was going to have some bullshit excuse. This is the narrative. Everybody going, I know all y'all going to jump in the comments and be like, oh man, he's MAGA. But someone who got deported, who found their way back in the country, this is the type of shit that happens. It happens. I don't care, left, right, donkey, camel, elephant. I don't care what your political affiliations are. You cannot say there are instances of illegal immigrants who come in this country. This dude was deported. He came back and committed a heinous act like this against somebody who was minding their own business. That's absolutely terrible. I think personally that border security is an issue. Border security is always going to be an issue. I think that people should be able to come here and go through the process to obtain citizenship, but you have to have some edits in place to make sure things and persons with track records like this do not slip through the gap. It's just absolutely terrible. Again, another person in both of these stories, the book should absolutely be thrown at him. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Are y'all like corporal punishment, like death penalty peoples? Like, do y'all believe in the death penalty? Yes or no? Like, y'all let me know in the chat. Give me a Y or an N. I mean, like, my view is, this is my view. I see the pros and cons to both sides. Whatever happens to an individual who's convicted of a crime, if the evidence was there to convict you, you assume the risk because you committed the crime. Now, of course, I know there are some instances where people don't commit the crime or they were the wrong person. I get all of that. But something patently obvious like this, like whatever my beliefs are, I don't lose sleep one way or another how it plays out. This is just absolutely terrible. It's an absolute failure. That the entire thing was recorded. It was caught on camera. It was passerbys. And the sad thing is, like, I'm somebody who's very observant as an ex-military guy who also kind of grew up in the hood. Like, I'm very observant. And even I don't ride the subway now, but when I did ride the subway, I was actually like, I would never fall asleep on the subway because while people get on the train, sometimes it can do some strange things. So I made sure that I was always up so I could see what's going on. But most people, your average person, you just sitting on a train going about your daily business, and there's really going to be nothing you can do to kind of stop this. Most people, just be honest, aren't fighters. Most people, if someone goes up to them and they start lighting something, they probably going to be like, wait, what are you doing? They're going to be confused before they think about kicking the guy's ass. So it's absolutely terrible. I don't know. I don't even know what to say. But again, both stories, people should have the book absolutely thrown at them. I have no sympathy, empathy, whatever you want to call it for them. They play stupid games. They win stupid prizes. And, prayers to the family of that lady who was just minding her business. Now let's go and check out this last story real quick. And I got to put the hat on. So y'all already know when I put this hat on, it means that what I'm about to play or what we're about to hear, it's giving me cause to pause as to whether I believe the authenticity or the veracity of a person's story. This story is giving them a fib is being told to me. So let's go ahead and check out this second story. Absolutely interesting, but I'm gonna tell y'all why this story falls apart for me. Y'all let me know what y'all think.
Now to a developing.
I'm actually gonna play this one all the way through. 3 minutes, 8 seconds. Play it all the way through. Then we're gonna talk about it.
Big story here in the city. The Manhattan DA's office now investigating a scandal at the NYPD. The city's top uniformed cop resigned Friday night. Former Chief of Department Jeffrey Madry is accused of trading sexual favors in exchange for overtime. It comes after another female captain accused Madry of sexual harassment. Derek Waller has more.
Jessica, disturbing allegations that have now gotten the attention of the city's Department of Investigation, as well as the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. A subordinate of Jeffrey Madry says she was coerced into performing sex acts in exchange for overtime benefits, and she says that abuse continued until this week.
I've been in the department a long time.
That's former Chief of Department Jeffrey Madry answering questions at a city council hearing this past Monday. The same day, Lieutenant Special Assignment Quathisha Epps alleges in this EEOC complaint, Madry offered to speak to the commissioner on her behalf about a personnel matter, but first demanded she, quote, kiss it, the complaint says, referring to his penis. She then decided to retire early. Lieutenant Epps says starting in June 2023, Madry engaged in efforts to coerce her into performing unwanted sexual favors in exchange for overtime opportunities. According to publicly available payroll data, Epps made a salary last year of over $164,000. But after overtime was factored in, she took home more than $400,000, making her the department's highest paid employee. After refusing his advances in October, she says Madry retaliated by orchestrating an intentionally manipulated monthly overtime report, which resulted in a criminal and internal investigation opened against her. The complaint dropping days after Madry was added to a lawsuit involving Captain Gabrielle Walls, who alleges he sexually harassed her. Systemic failures within the NYPD allowed Chief Madry's predatory behavior to continue unchecked, Lieutenant Epps' attorney writes in the complaint. Mayor Adams' office responding saying, we are deeply disturbed by these allegations, and the NYPD is investigating this matter. Mayor Adams is working in close coordination with Police Commissioner Tisch as the NYPD conducts a separate department-wide review to ensure no high-ranking officers are using their power inappropriately. We will refrain from commenting further to avoid jeopardizing either investigation. And Chief of Patrol John Chell is now going to take over as interim Chief of Department. In Lower Manhattan, Derek Waller, CBS News, New York.
And another big shakeup at the.
All right. Don't. That's funny. It's all right. Hey, Saddle Seeker, don't ruin it for us, okay? Let me talk through it first, and then we'll see if it's already been debunked. I'm gonna see if we can find a story about why it's capped. But before, let's go ahead and just point out the flaws and or deficiencies that we collectively see in this story. So shout out to you for that comment. Hey, a round of applause to everybody. But let's talk about it. So you have top cop, you have employee, lower level cop who makes about $165,000 a year. They received over $200,000 in overtime. So they essentially made over $400,000 the last calendar year. That was the highest of any cop in the city of New York, which was the reason that the investigation occurred. It's just data analytics. If I'm looking at healthcare fraud in the Medicare program, the first thing I would do is let me take a look at the healthcare providers who billed Medicaid, the 10 top billers for Medicaid over the past 5 years. So they probably looked at who was clocking the most overtime over the past 3 years and they saw this big ass number and was like, whoa, she made over $400,000 and her salary is $165 and the top cop makes $292. Something is going on. So we know what's going on here. Essentially, she's getting overtime. Everything is fine and dandy until an investigation is done or is being conducted into her actual overtime, right? Now that the investigation is being done into her overtime, she scrambling around like, wait. I know I got a lot of overtime, but it's because I felt pressure because he wanted some yams in exchange for overtime. Now I'll tell you, this is just me. And apparently the overtime work that was being done was actual no work at all. But my initial thoughts were, man, that's kind of garbage. If you trade for overtime, you're trading for the right to work. That's crazy. That means like, yo, you must be working with some garbage if you're trading that for the right to work more. Like you should be trading that for a bonus. So at first I was like, yo, this isn't making any sense. But then when I stood back and looked at it from an objective standpoint, I was like, wait, we would have never found out about this had she not been getting investigated for her BS overtime. The only reason she's even implicating this guy is because she was being investigated for potential criminal conduct. So she passed the buck on him. That makes absolutely no sense at all to me personally. So I have a suspicion about he. Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. She's flipped the script and got her in trouble for all the overtime he approved. Hey, if he couldn't even approve the overtime, now, this is generally what happened. This is what I think happened. You all let me know. Just when I heard it, it just doesn't make any sense, right? Because one, I mean, her name is Quatisha, so I'm skeptical to believe whatever she say anyway. I'm just going to be honest. But what Quatisha told on him and said he is eliciting for favors for overtime. Had she not been investigated, we would have never heard about any of this. So one of two things happen. Normally they're in the workplace. Some type of relationship probably started between them. I would be willing to bet my house that there is some form of text messages. There is some form of communication between them two that's indicative of this not being a forceful thing, but it's clearly something that's consensual. It just makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense. Like, why would he? I don't know. I can't fathom why would he risk his job doing that when he has this cushy job making $292, and the only thing that's weird is he resigned. If this didn't happen, I would have been like, no, you shouldn't resign. But someone told me that he resigned. One of my boys told me that they said he resigned because he recently like passed the bar. He's going to be practicing law or something to that effect. But this story is BS. I think that she's lying. I think that they had a mutual relationship. It was mutual agreement that clappage would commence. Sometime during the clappage relationship, maybe there was some willing to provide overtime, but he attempted to cover his bases as he's not, as you say, he's not the approving authority. So he's thinking, how could this ever blow back on me? So at the end of the day, I think all of them are terrible people. I think she's terrible. She's trying to retire now early before the investigation comes into light. Everybody here is messy. I think if there are charges to be had and they can find communication, she definitely committed a crime. Without a shadow of a doubt, I think she probably did something like 16 to 1,800 hours of overtime in a year. At an administrative job, she actually not even out with the public on the beat, like arresting people. She's like behind a desk. I don't know what desk job requires 1,600 to 1,800 extra hours a year. That's like attorneys have to work like 1,800 hours at firms to qualify for their bonus for an entire year. So this is actually a crazy ass story. It sounds like a love affair gone wrong. I agree 100%. Let me see. Okay, they had specific people in NYPD allowed. He is not allowed. I think it was just mutual cheek clappage going on. She was finessing the overtime system. He might have had some leverage into her getting that overtime, but he think he had coverage because he wasn't the signatory authority over that overtime. But I'm willing to bet my entire 401k that there's probably communication between her and him that's indicative of this being a consensual cheek clappage agreement. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not a fan of her trying to take the route, well, now that I'm getting caught, like, nah. I read another report where it said that she was on the verge of like losing her home. So she was on the verge of losing her home. She had a reason to actually engage in this overtime scheme because she was the one who was about to lose his home. She was in financial dire straits, not him. I think this whole story is some BS, mutual agreement. Something about her being investigated and she needed to blame someone else. I agree with that 100%. Like, and then the other thing is too, like, I maybe mentioned it on this channel. Hold, let me see. Let me go through some of these comments. Oh my goodness. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. So this is new information that came out today. Harley, what's good? What's good, brother? It started out consensual, then it fell apart. Finger pointing begins. And that's not a ride or die right there. Like, bruh, what do you think is going to happen? As a general rule, fellas, ladies, you can't let the front part of your pants interfere with what's in your wallet in the back part. That's just me. I mean, I don't care how fine or gorgeous or how much you may blush at me. If it's something that can impact my livelihood, that's absolutely 100 million% never going to happen because I got to be able to eat. That's it. Oh, it was a press conference today. Now let me look. Why would he leave the letter in the car? Now I'm about to look real quick and let me see if I can find this video. Oh, let me see if I can Google it and get the update. Because I guarantee you that yeah, I would bet the barn that this is consensual. Let's see. And when was this? That was 1 day ago. 8 hours ago. Okay. Let's see. All right, let's see if we can find the video. That's going to be easier. I think I found it. Let's see if we can find the video real quick before we get up out of here. But yeah, she full of crap, and I don't know. That's an actual terrible story. He can't authorize overtime. Yo, shout out to. I mean, the biggest mistake that he made was he was thinking with the wrong head. Clearly, he should have been a lot smarter than that. Let's see if we can find it. Let's see if we can find it. Okay, here we go. This is all right. We're going. All right, I think we got it. Give me 1 second. Let me go ahead and cue this up. I think we found it. I'm not believing her. I wasn't believing her with the story, and now see, I'm late. I was like, hey, I'm trying to go through this story. I wasn't believing her with the story. Let's go ahead and check this.
Former NYPD Chief Jeffrey Madry showing his face for the first time publicly since he resigned last week amid allegations of sexual misconduct. As Lori Bornaro reports, he appeared with his attorney who called Madry's relationship with his accuser consensual.
Former NYPD Chief Jeffrey Madry showing no emotion as he stood quietly by his attorney who denied allegations Madry traded sexual favors for overtime.
Those allegations are a lie.
Madry, once the NYPD's highest-ranking officer, resigned last Friday. NYPD Lieutenant Quathisha Epps filed a complaint Saturday with the Equal Opportunity Employment Commission, alleging Madry engaged in a more than year-long effort to coerce her into performing unwanted sexual favors in exchange for overtime opportunities, including intercourse in the office.
Lieutenant Epps had a consensual adult relationship, albeit for a short time, with Jeff.
Madry's attorney referring to Epps as a self-professed swinger. He says he has evidence, including texts and racy photos and videos she sent to the former chief, initiating the relationship. He also claims Epps, who filed for retirement earlier this month, has been under investigation by the Internal Affairs Bureau since October for excessive overtime she never worked. According to payroll records, Epps earned $400,000 with more than $200,000 in overtime last year.
Lieutenant Epps got caught with her hand in the cookie jar and is trying to deflect her wrongdoing by making these allegations against Chief Madry in the hopes that she'll get away with part or all of her scheme.
Madry's attorney also says only supervisors, not chiefs, are in charge of signing off on overtime. He says his client, now a practicing attorney, plans to fight the allegations.
Without the constraints of the NYPD, he's going to take the gloves off and fight for his good name.
We reached out to Epps' attorney multiple times for comment, but so far have not heard back.
Hey, and real quick, shame on her attorney for actually taking this case. I wish Quathisha would have came in my office with this bullshit. I'd have been like, well, bro, what? This don't even make any sense. I agree. That's funny. You said she's a swinger, then it was like she's a swinger. As soon as you said it, they said it. I agree with that 100%. Like, yo, if you shouldn't resign if you didn't do it. You got evidence out there. There's no way. I'm just gonna be honest. Like, if it's a consensual cheek clappage agreement, there is no way that there's not going to be some form of evidence that's out there to prove that it's consensual. So she was in financial dire straits. She needed the money. He didn't approve it. She never said anything about it prior to her getting investigated. Now she's getting investigated and pointing her finger and saying that I did it, but I did it because I felt obligated to do it because of the imbalance in power. Like, come on. Like, nah. Stop the cap. We don't believe you. It's terrible. And trust me, like, I don't know, sounds like Tiffany and Dalton Police Department working around the clock, making it forget. That's facts. Yeah, and that's kind of the I think I read somewhere if she resigns now, even though it's kind of an early out, she'll still get something like $16,000 a month and like a compensation package or something crazy like that. So hey, if you could resign, I think she's losing like, I don't know, $12,000, $15,000, but it breaks down to she'll still get $16,000 a month. So I mean, if you could resign and avoid all of this hassle and potentially something that'll jam up your ability to get your pension, I mean, I think it's smart for her to resign. If I was him, I wouldn't have resigned. Though. If I didn't do it, like, nah, bro, we're going to have to. Yeah, she never. And that's what I thought. It's funny, bro. At first, I was like, what? You gave that up for the right to do more work? What the hell's wrong with you? But then when I looked into it, I was like, oh yeah, it was just kind of a like, I don't think she did any of the extra overtime work for an administrative job. I think it was just one of those things like, this is what your compensation is. The person who should really have their head on the swivel is whoever the hell signed off on the overtime. That's the person who need to have their head on the swivel right now, because that's going to be the person right in the targets of any investigation. Let's see. She was getting her cheeks slapped and got a piece of it. Hey. Over $200,000, and she probably didn't do anything in the overtime. She probably didn't even show up, like sit at the desk just for those hours. Nah, I'd throw her ass in jail. I'm sorry. She needs to go into jail. Theft of overtime is a finesse. Anybody who I can prove was in this conspiracy, they gonna catch a conspiracy charge. All y'all going away. I don't play it. And yeah, subway stations are actually terrible. And one of the interesting thing is, yeah, that's fair. She ain't gonna have no damn money by the time he get through with suing her. But subways are generally terrible. And one thing that I don't like I think it's like that in New York. I think it's like that in it not. Oh, I know it's like that in most like blue states and cities. I can't speak of other states, but like in blue states like New York and DC, if you're a law-abiding citizen who has the right to carry a firearm, you can't carry a firearm on public transportation. So you can't carry it on the bus, you can't carry it on the subway, you can't carry it on any type of public transportation. And I personally disagree with that. The subway is probably one of the most dangerous places you can be in most cities. And the bad guys had their gun in the subway, so why can't you have your gun in the subway? That's always been my take on it. I don't know if I told y'all this story. I told some of y'all this story before, but I can understand the plight of the top cop. Because one thing as a guy, like you don't want to be accused of doing some stuff with somebody that you didn't do. I was at a job once. Okay, I'm gonna give y'all a little bit of story time. And I told this story before. I was at a job once, and I remember we were going to hire this high-speed attorney who was from another state. Now, myself and some of my staff, we already met this high-speed attorney before. Very smart sister. We already met her before at like a conference or something. So when we had a position open up, I remember this attorney saying like, "Hey, I'm interested in coming to work there." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." So immediately, soon as that position opened up, I go to one of my supervisors who's a female, a sister. And my very first question was, I was like, "Hey, that attorney we met at that conference last year, they're interested in this attorney position we got. It's cool because they work at the exact same type of organization that we are, doing the same thing. So they got all the experience." I was like, "What do you think about them?" And her comments were, "I think she's very smart, but she likes you." Now, I just look like this, but I'm not stupid. I'm actually very, very observant, and I have a keen ability that's God given of discernment. As soon as she told me that, anytime I was like, "Hey, what do you think of this candidate? They're interested in the opportunity. I think they're very smart, but they like you." And I was like, what the fuck kind of answer is that? That don't make any sense. As soon as I heard that, normally when we do interviews as the hiring authority, I have an interview panel. Then after the interview panel conduct all the interviews, I would maybe do an interview of the two top candidates. But because this person made that comment, I was like, that was a weird ass comment to make. I was like, you know what? We're just going to do one round of interviews. I'm not going to sit on the panel, and we just going to hire whoever got the highest score. I had enough common sense because of that one comment to say something is shady. Let me remove myself from this hiring process, because that was a weird ass response to get. So I removed myself from the hiring process. All the attorneys interview. Of course, the attorney who has experience in the exact same unit, just in a different state, is the person who get the job because they've been doing the job before, just in a different state. They get the job. There's no issues. All of a sudden, one day I get a knock at my door in my office, like, "Hey, there's been an allegation of some inappropriate hiring and all of this type of stuff." And I was like, "What?" Now, one thing I didn't do is resign. I was like, "No, I'm not resigning. I ain't even do anything, first of all." But I was like, okay. I was like, whatever. Y'all do y'all investigation. I'm not even worried about it because, again, generally you should do the right thing, but you should really do the right thing if doing the wrong thing is going to impact your wallet. I'm definitely not about that business. But it was a whole full-blown investigation. They were investigating the people on the panel. They were investigating all the interviews. They had me coming in doing interviews. This poor attorney, they had her coming in doing interviews. And of course, they was like, "Oh, we weren't able to substantiate anything." And I was like, y'all fucking wasted. I mean, they had like 2 attorneys. They wasted like probably tens of thousands of dollars in taxpayer money to investigate an anonymous complaint into me that I hired somebody that I had a weird situation going on with that wasn't even substantiated. This is how crazy it is. So I understand completely. Like, you don't want to be accused of doing some shit that you didn't do. Like, that's amazing. And I think he did himself a disservice by resigning. If I ain't do anything, now if I did something, I'm gonna resign. if I did something and there's something out there that's gonna implicate me from an evidentiary standpoint, I'm gonna go ahead sign my resignation. But if I ain't do anything, like, go ahead, look, y'all can't find what's not there, so I'm not worried about it. But that shit was not cool. I didn't feel bad for me because I ain't really care. Actually, it was flattered. I was like, yo, I was like, shout out to y'all for thinking I'm down here and I'm such a Mac and I'm so suave that I could just be making all these ill moves like I'm John Gotti or something. Like, shout out to y'all. Y'all giving me more credit. I don't think I'm that fly, but if y'all think I'm that fly, I was like, I appreciate y'all. But being accused of some shit you didn't do is the absolute worst. And it's weird because I mean, I'm assuming ladies make this mistake often too, but fellas, I see guys make that mistake a lot. It's never worth it. Work relationships, just leave it alone. Don't do it. Somebody gonna get caught. They gonna start pointing the finger. Next thing you know, your ass unemployed. You got all these allegations over your head. And even if everything is proven to be unfounded, you've probably lost your job over the mere image of it, or you resigned to something stupid. But it gets absolutely goofy. Oh, let me see. I just want to see where we at. Where we at? Mm-mm-mm-mm. She didn't even work the 40 hours we got there. I remember back in the day when you ride the subway train, you can look up and look down, but if you look at somebody's fight, yo, if I tell y'all some of the subway stories from when I used to, like, it got to a point in my career, I was happy when I made over a certain salary. I was like, I ain't never riding the subway again. Like, nope. It's cool when you downtown, but once you get out of downtown and all the suits get off, it was crazy as hell. it wasn't a toot my own horn. I just was like, man, y'all think I'm down here like I'm Rico Suave or something, man. Y'all crazy as hell. I'm just down here trying to do a job. All right, I'm gonna give y'all a terrible story when I was on the subway, and then we're gonna get out of here. Once I was on the subway, a lot of places in downtown DC, they only have parking for like the upper echelon people, and I definitely wasn't an upper echelon person at the time, right? And so, exactly, I agree with that 100%. I'm not an upper echelon person, so I'm catching the subway, and I'm catching the subway from like anybody who's from DC. You're familiar with like the orange and the green line. Those are the lines where like you get on the line in the city and there's a bunch of suits, but at some point you look around and all the suits are gone, and then it get kind of wild in the summertime. And so it was this guy. I thought he was homeless because he was like real tattered clothes, real dusty, kind of smelled a little bit. But I was like, he can't be homeless because this dude was jacked up. Like I work out, but no, this dude was jacked up. And he had on like ripped shorts, dusty, dirty shirt. And all he had was a dumbbell in his hand and like a metal bucket, like if he was like using it to wash something with. He had a metal bucket. And he would just get on the train, and there was seats on the train. But he wouldn't sit in the seats. He would flip his metal bucket over and put it on the floor and sit on this bucket and just start doing curls. And I was just like, man, what the? As soon as I saw him get on the train, I was like, man, this dude fucking crazy. And he not small. Let me keep an eye on this dude just in case he started wilding out, right? And, you know, that first day I saw him, I was like, man, that was fucking weird. A week later, I see this dude, same dude again. Dusty, same clothes, looked tattered, but he couldn't be homeless because, I don't know. Most homeless people don't have enough caloric intake to maintain that much muscle mass. Like the muscle mass this dude had, he was eating 3,500 calories a day at least. Dude was just jacked. And he come in again. This time is no seat. So I'm standing up. This time he actually flipped his bucket over because he needed a place to sit. And he's sitting on his bucket. And the whole time he's sitting on his bucket, he just like this doing curls. And I'm just like, man, fuck. I wanted to ask him, but I was like, nobody was gonna ask him. I was like, hey, bruh. I was like, hey, excuse me. Are you like training for something? Or like are you training for like a tough guy event or fighting competition or something? Because I always see you get on, man, and you working out, you look like you're in decent shape, man. What you training for? And he's just curling. And then he stopped and looked at me. He stopped and looked at me and was like, he set his weight down. He's like, since you see fit to come over here and interrupt my workout, I guess I'll tell you why I'm out here working so hard on this subway. And I was like, hey, he only curled with the right arm. I was like, this dude right arm strong as hell. I was like, okay, well, what is it? He's like, you never know when you gotta knock him out. And then he just picked up his weight and started doing exercises again. And I just walked off. I was like, man, this dude crazy. Just the other day, speaking of crazy shit on the train, in DC, it was a hold on. I'm gonna show this is the last train story I'm gonna show y'all, and then we're gonna get out of here. It was some dancers on the train minding their damn business. And I don't know, y'all, if you're from New York, that's like a common thing. People get on the train, they start pop locking, they start doing the Harlem Shake and sea walking or whatever. But this story was actually wild. Hold on, let me pull this up. This story is actually crazy. I want to find a no, that's the train in Manhattan. Okay, here you go. This story is actually crazy. Speaking of crazy shit on the train, people don't know how to mind their business. When you see some crazy shit on the train, like I just asked that one time, but normally if you mind your business, it won't be that wild. But
An investigator for the DC office of the Inspector General has
this dude should be fired immediately. Shout out to the DC office of the Inspector General. Got their agents out here looking like goofies and making them look ridiculous.
investigator for the DC office of the Inspector General has been charged with misdemeanor assault after allegedly shoving a street performer on the metro.
Yeah, this all happened back in July of this year when 57-year-old Harold Christie boarded the Green Line and two men began playing music and dancing in front of him. And according to police, a witness overheard Christie yelling at the men to get off the train.
That's when things escalated. As you can see, Christie shoves one of the men against the door before being pulled off. Christie then pushed them off the metro when those doors opened.
Police later tracked down Christie and charged him with simple assault.
Now, I don't think anybody really understands how serious this is. This is actually an interesting legal story. One, that dude's in his 50s. That dude look like he's 1,000 years old. But these guys on their train minding their business. You have an agent from the office of the Inspector General on the train. He don't like hip hop. He don't like dancers. He don't like his job. He probably don't want to go home to his wife, or he just don't like black guys. It could be any of those or a combination of them. But he gets upset, assault these guys. When these guys jump on him right here,
this year when 57-year-old Harold Christie boarded the Green Line and two men began playing music and dancing in front of him. And according to police, a witness overheard Christie yelling at the men to get off the train.
That's when things escalated, as you can see.
Right here, people don't understand how serious this could have gotten. You know how I know this could have gotten serious? Because at some point in time, I'm very familiar with that agency. And one thing that I know, the special agents at that agency are armed agents. So they do have firearms. After 9/11, there was a statute that was created. Because normally, if I'm a special agent in DC and I'm leaving to go to Virginia, back in the day, we would have to agent would have to lock their firearm up and then just go about their business. Well, after 9/11 happened, Congress passed a statute that essentially created a universal concealed carry permit for law enforcement or retired law enforcement. It's called LEOSA, the Law Enforcement Officer Safety Act. And again, it doesn't give you any extra police powers. It just allows a person to take their firearm from state line A across to state line B. Anybody who's this ridiculous to interrupt the fucking dancer from dancing on their way home, they should really count their blessings that this crazy ass dude didn't pull out his firearm. Because if he's an agent at the DCOIG, he's an armed agent. He probably was carrying his firearm home with him. And this shit could have went really, really bad. So I agree wholeheartedly. The subway is not for the weak-hearted. It's some crazy ass people out there. I mean, that dude was just having like I said, he could have been angry, racist, depressed, on a power surge or whatever, but that could have ended really, really bad. And then you look at it on his face and like, oh, that was just something minor. It was just an old ass guy pushing somebody, but that shit could have went left really, really quick. So, yo, when you out there in public, on a train, in public spaces, keep your head on a swivel because cats out here is crazy. I think I would have got off at the next stop. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, the DMV is wild. My kids are going on the subway New Year's Eve. It freaks me out. Yeah, New York City subways are the worst subways that I've seen. I agree. They still do that in New York on the train dancing, but instead of pulling out a hat and putting money in it, they pull a gun out and tell you. Really? I've never seen that. That's crazy. Oh my goodness. That's crazy. That's crazy. You got to be safe out here. My neighbor, last story. I know I say, but this is my last story. My neighbor. Hey, I started out talking about my city. Okay, like, hey, if I could give anybody else city smoke, I'm gonna go ahead and call my city out when we do some goofy shit, or people from my city do some goofy shit. But generally, you want to try to avoid violating. I just told my neighbor this. You want to avoid violating 2 of the 4 laws of stupid. If you can avoid if you cannot violate, you can violate 1 law stupid, but if you violate 2, it's probably going to be a problem. Now, my neighbors, and they're cool. They like my mom's age. They're in their late 70s, cool. And they called me a couple days ago and was like, hey, the guy, it was a robbery attempt as he was getting home. And I was like, damn, it was a robbery attempt? Like, literally, live right next door to me. So I'm shocked. I'm like, yo, well, tell me what happened. Because I know they got the doorbell camera and everything. So I was like, why they pick this old guy to rob? And so he violated 2 of the 4 laws of stupid. This is something they tell you if you're like in law enforcement, or if you practice like self-defense with a concealed carry weapon. The laws of stupid are: don't go stupid places at stupid times, doing stupid things with stupid people. If you could violate 1. Like I could go to a safe place with stupid people and I'll probably be all right. But if I go to a stupid place with stupid people, or I'm out with stupid people at a stupid time, anytime you violate 2 of the 4 laws of stupid, it's probably going to be a problem. So he calls me immediately, and this was like, his wife actually calls me. Then I talk to him on the phone, and he's telling me about it. Now, he's in his late 70s, but he still does like home repairs and work like that. And he says he was coming in from a job at 1 a.m. And I was like, time out, hold up. Like, and I'm going to hear your story out. But if you telling me your story, you telling me so I can give you my opinion and take. I'm like, bro, you in your mid to late 70s. Unless you out at an event with your wife, there's no reason, no project, no home repair you working on where you should be out at fucking 1 a.m. That's just it is what it is. I'm kind of a boring person, but if I'm out at 1 a.m, I'm out for a specific reason and I'm bringing my ass. So he violated the first rule of stupid. He violated stupid time. You in your late 70s and it's 1 a.m. and you coming home. Okay. Rule number 2 that he violated, he said when he got back, he had his tools from his work project in his vehicle. Now, he said he didn't want to leave his tools in his vehicle. He should have just got out of his car, locked his door, went in the house, and he would have been good. But he's taking the tools out of his vehicle and putting the tools on his porch. Vehicle to porch. He makes 3 trips, putting tools from his vehicle to his porch. and he's not paying attention to his surroundings, and two guys run up on him as he's making into the third trip. So he had more than enough time to get out the car, get his ass in the house, lock the door, and be comfy and cozy. But he was out at a stupid time and he was doing a stupid thing. Why are you worried about the tools in your car at 1 a.m. when you 78, 79 years old? Just get your ass in the house and get that shit in the morning. Just lock your car door. Ain't nobody breaking in your car to get the tools. On his third trip, as he's putting his tool down, two guys run up on him. They want to come in the house. Shout out to him because he was like, nah, I'm not opening the door because this old lady is in there. Shout out to him. He's like, nah, I'm not opening the door. The guys show a gun. They don't do anything. They just leave. But of course, that's a traumatizing event for anybody, even somebody who's in law enforcement. If somebody get the drop on you, that's a traumatizing event. And so he had the camera. I guess he tells his wife about it. He files a police report. Police ain't gonna find them fucking people. They had masks on and shit. But as I watched the video footage he showed me, as he's making his trip, so he's 78 plus years old. He's coming in at 1 a.m. Instead of going in the house, he's taking tools out to put them on his porch. As he's making the trip, they didn't approach him to his third trip. After his first trip, if he was paying attention, you could see the two guys walk by. They walk by twice before they see him and try to capitalize on the opportunity where they realize he isn't paying attention. And it's crazy because had he been paying attention, they probably would have never ran up on him. But the point of that is to say, try not to violate more than two laws are stupid. If I'm going somewhere and I know I'm gonna be out late, me and the family gonna be getting back late, I'm not gonna you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna fill my damn car up before I leave during the daytime, so I'm not stuck out at 10 at night, 11 at night at a damn gas station trying to get gas looking like a target. Like, you got to kind of make smarter moves. I just don't ride the subway at all because I'm like, you know what? Enough of the BS. I'm tired of all the tomfoolery. But I don't know. It's kind of crazy. Y'all got to be safe out there. I'm gonna check out some of these. I'm gonna check out some of these comments. Then we're gonna get out of here. I agree. I got to a point where when I could afford it, I never used to drive because if you don't have a place to park, I mean, I lie to you not. On the cheap, imagine paying $10 a day to park. Normally it's more than that, but $10 a day to park, that's a lot of money. Most people was $15 to $20 a day. Once I could afford it, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna pay whatever, $20 a day. I'm gonna pay $20 a day because I don't want to ride on the subway dealing with that BS. Some days you had a long day at work, you going home, some Yahoo decided to jump in front of the train station. I like, damn, that's terrible that you did that, but you had to be a dick and do it during rush hour traffic. That's crazy. Yeah, let's see. Born and raised. Okay. St. Louis is bad. That's it. He said it like it's a war zone. That's crazy. So everybody got some subway horror stories that look like worse than Fallujah. I knew what you meant. Soon as I saw it, you didn't have to respell that battle. I already knew exactly what you meant. Let's see. The stupid law. Yeah. I think that you should, if you can carry a firearm legally and lawfully, you should be able to carry it during public transportation. That's just my thought. Let's see. All right, y'all, I'm about to jump off here, but I just wanted to cover those 3 stories because I thought, man, I wanted to get these stories out. So the big takeaway is this. Story number 1 that happened in my city in DC, lock her ass up. You think you bold enough to run behind the counters at a Chipotle and start attacking people? Nah, take your ass to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Go straight to jail. The train situation in New York is just terrible. And the sad part is I don't even really know what the resolution is to do that. Like, we got to stop illegal immigrants who have criminal backgrounds from being able to come back after being ousted from the States. And you just got to pay attention when you're out there, even though that may not have stopped this, but you got to try your best to keep your head on the swivel. Don't fall asleep on the subway. I know it's long. I know you may have a 30 or 40-minute ride, but I don't know. I try not to fall asleep. I try to stay awake because you never know what someone might be willing to do. And the bottom line for the last story is, hey, fellas, ladies, protect your wallet, protect your purse. Don't make bad decisions. Don't think with the wrong head. Whatever that relationship is for that consensual clappage, if somebody get caught doing something shady and you have a little bit of rank or power, you are the bargaining chip. This lady got caught. She was asked out. She was caught with finessing all this overtime. Her first thought was, what can I say or who can I leverage to get out of this situation? Who has more to lose than me? This guy does. And they will tell on you. So avoid making bad decisions. Hey, everything that glitter is not gold. Y'all got to remember that. Y'all have a good one. Y'all be safe. Enjoy y'all Sunday. Go Commanders. Go Commanders. Y'all be safe. Take care. Peace. Y'all take care, family.